apologies, I said those stats are misleading. Wasn't great this season, but anyone who's watched him over the last few seasons knows he's decent. He's all right. He's a good shot stopper, bit shaky with collecting crosses, bit reactionary, but he's better than Runnison by some logic. By God's grace, Leno never gets injured, so we never have to ever review that. I think he's better than Runnison, so that puts my heart to rest. And for me, I would have liked to have seen somebody come permanently. I think we've gone for Matt Ryan because, you know, clearly our priority was to get people off the wage books. You've seen Ozil's now gone, Socrates is now gone, Kolasinac is gone temporarily. So we're somewhat righting the wrongs. You know, when you buy cheaply, you have to buy twice and you have to right the wrongs. Like you're seeing, we're still talking about a centre-half, but we spent 80 million on Socrates. He wasn't the worst player. It weren't worth it. You know, Runnison, it was only £1 million or something. Mismanaged. Now you're having to delegate time to finding a goalie, and we'll never know how many targets in goal we was looking at, or if this guy was the first one. Because I'm cool with Matt Ryan, you know, I think it's a cool addition. But if I look at it without emotion, the cynics may say, "Yo, this is Arsenal doing what they normally do." In that they're not. Do they necessarily want him, or is it because he's available? Yeah, he's an Arsenal fan. You're seeing all his tweets resurface, but at the same time, he's lost his place. You know, I'm not a Brighton fan, but Matt Ryan weren't in goal when Brighton played us. You know, Matt Ryan's lost his place. So again, he's got one foot out the door. He's second choice. Is it a case where, you know, that's why we've gone for him? I think we genuinely wanted him, but is it a thing where, okay, cool, you can give us a loan fee, we'll take him, or did we genuinely want him? We'll never know. And I don't like to do the whole Premier League experience, but for me, I think he's a decent shot stopper. He's fairly vocal, he's fairly experienced, he's of a decent age. We're not going to have to rely on him too tough unless something happens to Leno. So I'm cool with this. You know, he's better than Runnison by quite some standard. You know, this is a cool number 2 for me, at least until the end of the season comes. So yeah, he's decent with his feet. I wouldn't describe him as a ball playing goalie, but he's all right, you know. And if he isn't, he's going to need to improve in that regards, because he's going to have to be central. You can't imagine too many games that he is going to play. I don't know if the FA Cup game has come too soon for him to feature against Southampton. You can't imagine he's going to feature against Benfica in the Europa League, and obviously in the Premier League, for obvious reasons, we need to go with Leno. So I'm cool for this. I'm cool with this signing, people. For what it's worth, let me share up my screen, because I know a lot of you lot love that. Some of you hate it, some of you love that. But as you can see, this took us by surprise. And ironically, I'm not knowing the know or anything like that, but let me not talk too tough, but I was doing something today, people, and somebody notified me. They're like, "Yo, Matt Ryan signing for Arsenal," you know, and this person is quite knowledgeable, and if anyone's going to know, it is going to be him. Not that I'm in the know, not that I saw this coming. I was like, what do you mean Matt Ryan signing for Arsenal? You're chatting crap. And I wish I could bring them. God as my witness. I was like, what do you mean Matt Ryan signing for Arsenal? You're capping. He's like, no, I can talk about it now. He's signing for Arsenal. And literally, as we're doing what we're doing, I'm there and I'm seeing Matt Ryan sign for Arsenal. I'm like, right, it's a loan thing. I don't mind that at all. You know, I feel this is a January for being reactive and righting our wrongs. We needed to get people off the wage books. We needed to bring in a keeper. We needed some creativity. And on the bulk with Odegaard, apparently he's 90% done, which we're also going to get into. But this can give us time to go for a left back. You know, I'm seeing a lot of you talk about Bertrand. I'm not sure why Ryan Bertrand is linked with us. Please, somebody, when I finish talking about Odegaard, somebody please remind me to speak about Ryan Bertrand, because I've written it down. I don't want to forget that. But yeah, people, we'll never know. For me, I don't mind this. You know, he's got the Premier League experience. He's a competent number 2. He's a decent shot stopper. In an ideal world, he never makes his Arsenal debut because he's never going to be called into action because of Leno, sort of thing, people. In that, again, he's Australian, but again, some things are doing the rounds online in the relation that he's got a Scottish mother. So that means in terms of the homegrown laws, we can exploit that. So there's still a free space for a foreign player to sign for our club, people. So that could be being coy for Arsenal. But if anybody doesn't know, welcome to Arsenal, Matt Ryan. The Australian goalie has joined from Brighton on loan until the end of the season. If I click the article, I already had the article up here, but nonetheless, you know, Matt Ryan joins until the end of the season. And we knew we needed to get a goalie. We've seen Macy go out on loan. We know Runnison isn't levels, and he's had his one opportunity. It didn't work. But, you know, we've signed him, 28 years of age. So, again, you know, hopefully if he gets a chance, I don't mind keeping him permanently, because he's 28. You know, it's very difficult to find strikers who are competent and happy to sit on the bench. And it's also very difficult to find plan B keepers. You know, we had Martinez, who is a plan A keeper, first choice keeper. In an ideal world, you would have loved him and Leno to fight each other out. Whoever wins, wins. But it wasn't to be. You bring in Matt Ryan, 28 years of age. You'd imagine in the summer when we can see financially where we look, because we all know even winning the FA Cup, it was great to win it, but that made a difference for us in terms of Europa League money. So I think at the end of the season, where we finish at the end, hopefully we win Europa League or qualify for Champions League, so we have a bit more cash. But I think when the financial situation becomes clear, we probably might see this guy made permanent. Because if I was him, I wasn't playing at Brighton. I'm not going to play too tough at Arsenal. I'd want to go out and play first team football. But he's an Arsenal fan. Someone that isn't playing has gone from Brighton to Arsenal European football. There is that. Could it be like Pablo Marie and Cedric, where they're going to become permanent signings if and when it becomes appropriate? He's made 124 appearances, as you can see, since 2017 for Brighton, and he leaves with his head held high. He lost his place in the team in the last few games. I do think he has an error in him. I do think sometimes his positioning can be shaky. Obviously, we just spoke about, there are some negative statistics in terms of the 10 games he's played. He's got one of the worst shot save ratios, but you can attribute that to Brighton just not being good enough defensively. There's got to be a reason as to why he's dropped, and maybe that's something I can try and find a Brighton guy to come on this with and chat to me about. But I don't think he's a terrible goalie. And for number 2, I'm cool with this, people, personally. Edu himself has said Matt is an experienced keeper, a proven talent in the Premier League, and has also played many internationals for Australia. Matt will further strengthen our squad with his experience and knowledge of playing at the highest level. Following Matt Macy's recent move to Hibernian, Matt will provide very good competition and positive support to all our goalkeepers, and we're looking forward to him integrating quickly into the setup here at Arsenal. So congratulations, people. The manager himself has said, and obviously he's been at quite a few clubs. He's been at Belgium, he's been at Valencia, he's obviously been at Brighton. He is a decent keeper. He's played at World Cups and things like that. He's not a world-class keeper, but he's a decent number 2, and I'm prepared to move with this. I'm cool with this, really and truly. What I want to see him come here, I want to see you be vocal if an opportunity comes, because that's one thing I like. He does open his mouth a lot, and communication is key when you're a goalie, part of a back 5 unit, including the keeper and the 4 defenders. Arteta himself said, we know Matt very well through his performances with Brighton in recent seasons, and he brings additional quality to our squad. Matt has very good Premier League experience and has played over 100 times in the league, which is something that will benefit us greatly on and off the pitch. We welcome Matt to Arsenal and look forward to working with him this season. Obviously, it's spoken about his life story, how he's come from Australia. He'll wear the number 33 shirt. The man himself has been speaking. Won't get too many opportunities, but he say, I'd say on the field, it's probably my reliability as a goalkeeper. Now, Matt, I hope that's the case. Make sure you're there, because that's one thing that we as Arsenal fans have been scared of. You can't really attribute reliability and goalkeepers, definitely not for Runnison. So again, when your chance comes, please take it. Like in an ideal world for me, Matt Ryan only makes his debut end of the last game of the season when we've qualified, and when we've qualified for the Champions League or doing what we need to do in Europa League, or everything's been written. And that's not me criticizing Matt Ryan. That's just for me. Leno is our first choice. Leno plays every game for me, and Arteta clearly made that abundantly clear to Martinez based on the fallout comments. Even in the early stages of Europa, when we started that group, when we put some runs of form together, you saw Runnison get his chance, and we could see it was Buki then. Please go back to my live streams. I was saying it then. But you saw Leno starting. FA Cup, you see Leno starting. Obviously, Premier League starting. So don't take it as a criticism for Matt Ryan. Leno is our number 1. He plays every game, in my opinion, unless we need to rest him or whatever. Like, with all due respect, if we had a game like, Spurs are playing Wickham in the FA Cup. If we had Wickham, then, we could play Matt Ryan. But for me, it's the luxury of knowing if anything happens to Leno, God forbid, not like last season, that we can obviously use him. And obviously, as fans, we know Matt Ryan, another Matt, he's not of the level of Leno, but he's better than Runnison. So as a fans, I'm not going to say we're going to be completely convinced, but at the same time, we've got a bit of luxury knowing that, God forbid, if anything happens to Leno, there's a better keeper that can step up, because we can criticize Matt Ryan. Clearly, he's a Premier League keeper. He's decent enough for that. Runnison, I've previously said it. I don't think he gets into a lot of championship sides based on what I've seen in an Arsenal shirt and the highlights available of his previous club. So we've got a better keeper. Obviously, it gives us flexibility in the short to medium. You could probably make Matt Ryan's move permanently, or this could be a thing where, all right, cool, do you know what? We know we need a backup goalie, but right now it's not going to happen, innit? Our priority majority was moving people off and bringing in a creative man. So let's bring in someone for the short term. Then when everything's done, when the market's closed and we've concluded and we're moving towards next season, whether that's bringing in the hours and all of these things, we can put a plan B or a competent plan B keeper on our list so that we can say, if anything, all right, cool, Matt Ryan, I've loved having you here, but you're going back to Brighton. We're bringing in this next keeper who's going to be our plan B, second choice keeper, and we move forward with that regards, people. And at 28, I would like Matt Ryan to be our number 2, to be fair. So good age. You know, no one wants to sit on the bench, but 28, bro, you can sit on the bench for 3-4 years or whatever, and that could be our number 2, really. But himself, he said, I feel I'm quite consistent with my performances. So I've seen consistent and reliability. What do I always tell you that I look for in footballers? I look for competency, confidence, and consistency. You need to be confident in your job in any walk of life or you can't do it. You need competencies. If you're a goalie, can you actually catch a ball? We couldn't say that about Renison. If you're a defender, can you actually defend? So competencies and consistencies. There's no point playing man of the match. You was a man on a mission. The best players in the world couldn't score against you one week. If you're dropping clangers the week after, it's irrelevant. So he's told me consistency. He's told me reliability. These are things that whet my appetite as a football fan when I hear any player say that. He said as well, I dedicate every aspect of my life to playing football and trying to win football games for whoever I'm representing, be it the club or the national team in Australia. So that willingness to win and to go the extra length to do that is probably the main driving force behind me. Off the field, I like to think I'm just a genuine, easygoing person. I'm pretty laid back and approachable and happy to have a chat with anyone. So this is good for young keepers as well. Some young keepers might get opportunities. Like I said, I'm very dedicated towards my sport and very professional, and I don't want any stone unturned in trying to win a game on a match day. When they come on, I give it all. And to be fair with you, I like that mindset. I don't care if you're first choice goalkeeper, second choice, whatever. I like people of that mindset. This is someone that Arteta can rely on. I know you're not going to do foolishness. I know that you're going to play with integrity. So I don't mind that. He spoke about his mentality and things like that. He said, firstly, to get here and to start the adaptation phase, learn the ins and outs, to get more understanding of the playing group and coaching staff. And that's what I'm going to be required. That's what's going to be required of me, as a goalie, and what they're looking for and the way of playing, the style of play and all those sorts of things. I'm ready to develop a great relationship with them. I feel that the quicker and more efficiently I'm able to do that, the better chance it's going to give myself as an individual to contribute at a greater level for this football club. That's my focus, to come in here and work hard, push each other and improve as a person and as a player. I have no doubts that I'm in the right environment to do that. Like I said, I don't think he's a better keeper than Leno, and I don't think Leno is a complacent keeper. But naturally, when you know that your place isn't necessarily up for grabs, there must be an element of complacency. Now, I don't think Matt Ryan is better than Leno, but he's better than Renison. So in theory, Leno might have to spring up his, not that he isn't, but play better even more. Because, if I turn left and I turn right, I might be out the team in the same way I would have loved to have had Martinez and Leno doing that sort of thing, but something had to give in that regards. So welcome to the club, Matt Ryan. It is what it is in that regards. Welcome, Matt Ryan. Hopefully you have a long and prosperous time here, and wishing you all the best in your career here.